Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, ji ayanu, pakhair ragale, ni hao, chureshumme, washmale, Ohio Gonzaimes, Guten Morgen, hola, boyor, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kare aaya, kaifa hal. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Hassan Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope and I pray that everybody out there who are actually glued to their television screens because of our show, or even if you're not glued, I hope that you guys are doing wonderfully well. I pray for your health and I pray for your betterment and better future every single day. That's the kind of feeling I wake up with every single day. I ask for the same prayers for myself as well. But ladies and gentlemen, other than that, there are a few things which I would love to talk about just before we get started with what we actually wanted to discuss today. And that is that, obviously 23rd March, Pakistan Day Parade was postponed to 25th because the weather wasn't perfect on the 23rd of March. But, the display of might by our armed forces, by our civilians as well, I think was so wonderful to look at. It made me nostalgic, brought back all of those memories as well. But then at the same time, it definitely gave us this courage, this confidence that our armed forces, alhamdulillah, are capable of defending the sovereignty of this motherland, which obviously makes you feel great, which makes you feel as if you are an independent nation struggling and striving to be better every single day. So I think a big thanks and a big shout out to Pakistan Armed Forces as well, maybe Pakistan Army, maybe Pakistan Navy, maybe Pakistan Air Force as well. A job well done. It was wonderful. The entire show was wonderful, and the might, when you look at it, we know that alhamdulillah that our armed forces can defend our borders. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, there are two sad news as well, and I would love to kind of dedicate this entire show and the coming shows to all of these legendary people who have brought back a name for Pakistan as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the first ever announcer, female announcer of Pakistan television, Miss Qayyum Nasir, who was on the show just the previous year as well, and it was so good to be in conversation with her on a very special day when it was PTV World's birthday as well. And we kind of had a lot to learn from her as well. Miss Qayyum Nasir Saiba, ladies and gentlemen, has actually left for her final abode as well. So we want to, really pray for her, for the kind of services she rendered for Pakistan television and the Pakistani nation. And not just her, ladies and gentlemen, Hasina Moin Saiba, a script writer, a fabulous script writer, drama writer as well. She passed away as well. So we definitely pray, the entire nation is praying for them and for their family as well. May the soul rest in peace and patience for the bereaved as well. But other than that, I think there's one more thing which I wanted to talk about, and that is the third wave of coronavirus, ladies and gentlemen. Every single day, just in Islamabad, we have 10% of positivity ratio as well. So I think that people really need to be very careful. And I've seen it from my own eyes as well, that how serious this third wave is, because over here in Islamabad, in my own house, ladies and gentlemen, just because I don't know whether I should use the word lucky or unfortunately, I was a few of the first ones who got COVID over here in Pakistan as well. But now my entire family is suffering from it. May it be my father, may it be my sisters, may it be anybody at my place, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is suffering from COVID as well. And this time around, it is very lethal and everybody needs to follow the SOPs. And this other day, there was this picture which I thought was so correct, that all of a sudden everybody has started going to weddings, there are these festivals happening as well, and that everybody is going, nobody's following SOPs. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a pledge, it's a request. Please make sure that you look after your health, your family, people whom you love as well, and kind of give out the same message as well. If for a while we're not going to meet each other, that's going to be okay, because to meet each other, we really need to be alive. God forbid, if you're not going to follow the SOPs, unfortunately, we can come across such a situation where we are worried, where we are stressed, where we really want to get out of this as well. So please make sure that you follow all the SOPs so that you really do not have to go through all of that pain which people are going through, because losing a loved one, ladies and gentlemen, is a pain which is going to stay with you forever. So please don't do that. It's a humble request, humble request, humble request. But now, other than that, I hope that you guys are actually going to accept my request as well and follow the SOPs. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, since COVID breakout in 2019, I think that there was this industry which had to go through a lot, which had to suffer a lot as well. And I'm definitely talking about the tourism industry, even though that people are now opening their doors, people want to travel as well. But other than that, amongst, when we knew that, there's COVID outside, so people weren't really traveling abroad. But what they did was that, okay, hey, you know what, we are blessed with so many things. I mean, for example, even if we start from Sindh to coming down to Gilgit-Baltistan, we have so many amazing tourist spots that people actually started to travel. So there was domestic tourism. Within the country, people were traveling from one destination to another destination, making sure that they're going to follow all the SOPs. There's such an amazing, I mean, for example, if I have to relate it with what kind of business it can bring to Pakistan, so just imagine that, people go to Dubai, even though that they had oil, in abundance, but now their economy is actually based on tourism. And when you go to Dubai, you're like, okay, you know what, this is one of the leading spots for tourism as well. And people actually love going to Dubai as well. The kind of services you're going to get over there, the kind of luxury you want, the kind of parks you want to go to, the kind of safari you want to enjoy over there. I think that people were more likely to go over there as well. But why can't we develop our own country in ways where people come from abroad as well, and that people who live within Pakistan start going from Balochistan to Sindh, or from Sindh to Gilgit-Baltistan, or from Gilgit-Baltistan to Punjab for that reason. I think that this is something which we want to talk about, because just very recently, ladies and gentlemen, there was this executive governing body for management and administration of Pakistan tourism, which was formed by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Mr. Zulfi Bukhari is heading it. So we want to talk about that. And not just that, there's a lot of religious tourism in Saudi Arabia, ladies and gentlemen, and people go to perform Umrah, people go to perform Hajj. And even when I went to perform Umrah, I was told that, other than these places, you cannot actually go anywhere else, which I don't know whether I should say it on television or not, but I did, because one of my relatives was there, so he was like, okay, I'm going to take you to these different places as well, which was good to go. And there are a lot of places which we might want to see as well, and why not? Because I believe that, a person who travels a lot, ladies and gentlemen, learns a lot as well. We have a small report to share, but once you guys will come back, we'll talk about this executive governing body as well. And we'll talk about what are those destinations in Saudi Arabia we might want to visit, other than, performing Umrah and Hajj. Let's go, let's take a look at this report, and when you guys will come back, we will be in conversation with these amazing guests over here in the studios. Let's do this. Good morning.
Pakistan affirms its relationship with Saudi Arabia as their most important and bilateral partnership in the current foreign policy of Pakistan, working and seeking to develop closer bilateral ties with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, both countries, are rich in culture, attractions, dining, adventures, and nature, but navigating through it all can be a daunting experience. The relationship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia is indeed a strong one that goes back decades. While Pakistanis have a special regard for the kingdom due to its position as the custodian of Islam's holiest cities, political, economic, and military ties are also robust. In this regard, an event was organized in order to enhance bilateral ties between the two countries and to connect the stakeholders of both nations so that they can offer better experiences to the tourists. Reportedly, 2 million Pakistanis visited Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 2019 under geographic restrictions of Makkah, Jeddah, Medina, but now under new Saudi tourism policy, they can visit other parts of Saudi Arabia as well. Other than that, Pakistan has an excellent opportunity to attract tourists not just from Saudi Arabia but around the world. Moreover, Pakistan is an economically viable destination for adventure and natural tourism for Saudi families. Going forward, Pakistan by all means is working towards improving and strengthening a bilateral relationship with Saudi Arabia.
And we'll definitely build up on that, ladies and gentlemen. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be the member of governing body for Pakistan Tourism. He happens to be the general manager of one of the milestones over here in Islamabad, Centaurus. He is Sayyid Qamar Abbas Sahab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Wa alaikum assalam. Good morning to you.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Wonderful to have you, and congratulations that you've been actually picked up as a member of that governing body, which is going to make sure that tourism over here in Pakistan is going to have a very different face from what it had previously from this day onwards.
Very right.
Congratulations. And alongside, sir, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who actually happens to be the Chief Executive Officer of Funadik.com. Funadik, ladies and gentlemen, is actually hotels in Arabic. He happens to be an expert on hospitality and tourism. He is an entrepreneur himself, and he's visiting us from Saudi Arabia as well. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Mr. Salman Aryan. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Good morning.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you for having me here today. It's a pleasure to just share the program with Mr. Kamar Abbas as well.
Thank you very much, sir. Kaifa hal?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So let's get the conversation started. Shaji, I think I'm going to get my conversation started with you because it definitely is a good news that the government is actually paying 100% attention towards tourism. And whenever we speak about Prime Minister Imran Khan, he's always been in love with the northern area as well. Whenever he gets a day or two off, he would actually go to those places and make sure that other people will come as well and follow his footsteps. So tell us a little about this governing body for tourism. What are they going to do? And how do you feel being a member of this governing body?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, my heartfelt gratitude for giving such a wonderful good morning wishes to people in multiple languages. That's really great. I'm really impressed. Now come to your question. Yes, obviously, Prime Minister has constituted this big team of tourism, including private sector also. That is, I think, one of the best part of it. Besides government, because government is, that is none of a government business to do a business. So they have added private sector into this, NTCB, National Tourism Coordination Board. Obviously, they are doing a lot, such as making a policy, new policy altogether. First time this government has made a 10 years policy, which has never been made before. For last 70 years, none of the government has participated or taken interest so much as Prime Minister Imran Khan has taken. Rather, he put tourism topic in his manifesto as well. This committee is formed to revamp whole tourism policies, which is being done. And very vigorously the entire team is doing, but what I feel, there is a lot to be done. There's a lot of room to be done and increased. The policy makers should concentrate in this area, such as we need to licensing is missing. I have talked about the digitalized Pakistan policy, which is already announced by the Ministry of IT. Tourism policy should be added, should be come under this ambit, so that we can have a platform. We don't have a platform. Lot of foreigners, lot of foreign companies such as Booking.com, they are making 2.5 billion per month revenues. That foreign exchange can be earned if we have our own platform. 20,000 travel agents are available in our country. They need to be activated, then we need to do further infrastructure, roads for infrastructure. These are a few things missing. But obviously, the good thing is that, Pakistan is going to launch a brand Pakistan in April. That is one of the best thing, I think. You will see a lot of things in brand Pakistan subject. Besides, Pakistan is very lucky and fortunate that we have had the opportunity to host a tourism summit in coming in the end of this year.
I think that's
that is also one of the, I think, best thing. You will see a lot of hustle and bustle, many international.
And I think it's an honor for us to host it as well.
Exactly. This is the only thing, And then other than Pakistan is declared as the most, beautiful destination place by the international forums.
Exactly.
So these are many things that we are doing it, and obviously this will bring a fruitful results for tourism industry.
Exactly, and that's wonderful to know, and that's wonderful to see that Pakistan is actually on the roadmap of being amongst the developed countries and the countries which are actually being loved by the tourists all over the world. And not just that, even on our show, sir, we have had a lot of bloggers and vloggers as well internationally, and they have immense love for Pakistan as well. But other than that, let's just include Salman Aryan Sahab as well in the conversation, where now today we are actually talking about that now when Pakistanis will go to Saudi Arabia, they won't just be going to Jeddah or Makkah or Medina for that reason as well. So where else can we go? What are the other destinations? And why are you the champion of making sure that these bilateral ties converge into somewhat more realistic and more kind of visiting each other and, you know, making sure that we experience each other's countries and places as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I believe we are at a very interesting crossroads of the situation right now. COVID has, you know, as much as it has impacted an industry that is fundamentally used to be the 10% of the total GDP of the world, right? So, and every 10th person in the world was employed in that industry. And then we have seen a nosedive where everything just collapsed. So I believe that 2021 and these times when the Umrah is not happening, tourism is not happening, it's the years where we should get prepared. The countries are getting ready, and this is the time we need to produce our infrastructures, this is the time we need to produce our branding, our programs, as well as the digitization, because that's the trend. So I think these are the times for us to prepare. Now, the people before 2019, I think we have just seen the numbers, 1.6 million Umrah Mu'tamar, almost 200,000 Hujjaj, they go to Saudi Arabia. So what happened is, because now this is almost a $3 billion that we spend as Pakistan as a country, and that's a huge number.
It is.
Overall, it's a $30 billion industry in the world, right? Hajj and Umrah, that's what they spend. Saudi Arabia is a well-kept treasure that the world has not seen. Let's put it this way. And now with the new tourism policy, they're saying, hey, welcome, the whole world is welcome. The visa policies are changed, including for Pakistanis who there are some certain conditions. But the country is open and they are building. It's not only, I think there is a misconception that, oh, there is only Western tourists should visit Saudi Arabia. Let me just clarify that. There is so much to see in Saudi Arabia. So go to the deserts, right? You can go and experience the historical, you know, corridors in Jeddah and Taif and all those places. Saudi government is also committed to spend $1.1 trillion in next 20 years to build infrastructure. And they are targeting from 10 million visitors a year to 100 million visitors a year.
And they're on it already.
Absolutely. And if you look at those, so what we have done is basically, just to give you the background, Fanatic.com is fundamentally build a platform that is creating a social, commercial, and spiritual impact. So we are saying, okay, so it's not only commercial side of it, let's integrate. We have been calling Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, brothers, countries, and where is the trade? Where is the tourism? Unless the Saudi families will come to see us and connect with us, we won't be able to build relationships, long-lasting relationships. So in Saudi Arabia, we have Red Sea. That's the beautiful place. The people who have love for the sea, tourism, amazing. Deserts, culture, history, and then, the adventure as well. Okay, so this is what one thing happening. But let me also say this, as let me take that opportunity. Pakistan never sold tourism to Saudis. We never went out there and say, hey, listen, you know what? We got Lahore, we got Salt Range, we got deserts, we got sea, we got northern areas. So this is what we have done. 2 days ago, there was a first virtual business to business online South Pakistan Saudi Tourism Conference. Okay, 4-hour session, all stakeholders from Pakistan side, all stakeholders from the Saudi side. They were all together, and we start talking about how to revive the travel industry, because we need to retrain our travel agents.
Exactly. And this is the point which was actually brought up by Shaji as well, where Shaji said that, we really need to activate those 20,000 travel agents who are over here as well. And Booking.com, if they're taking away so much business, I know that over here we have people who can do a wonderful job with that too as well. But Shaji, now I think that the point which has been raised by Mr. Salman is very apt. That even these days, maa bhi nahi jaane de rahi ghar se bahar, puttar andar hi raho, bahar nahi jana. So, I think this is the right time that we start developing that infrastructure and be ready to open our doors to the rest of the world. Because, everybody is going through the same pandemic as well. So, what are we going to do in those terms as well, where we need infrastructure, where we probably need internet everywhere, all over the country as well, because we go to different areas, there's no internet. So, we have to work a lot. So, in which areas have you started to work already? And where are we in terms of tourism now, so that we can actually have a comparison after 2 years or 3 years that, okay, this has been done, mashallah.
As my colleague have rightly said that, after this COVID pandemic situation, now, we need to switch off the pre-COVID situation. Now, we need to move to a post-COVID. Overall, you will see that the domestic tourism will lead the recovery. Whatever we have lost, the domestic tourism have taken over, and we have our local tourism have increased right now for 300%. So lots of revenues coming in, and mashallah, what we need to do is to capitalize on our own people. You see, you can see 10 million Pakistanis are living abroad in Middle Eastern countries. Why can't we bring them to Pakistan and show them a Pakistan? Because we are under this this committee, we are doing a lot of things. I will count few areas. I will give you an overview. Although your time is short.
Although I know about
But
all of these
for
initiatives.
Saudis also, KPK itself, we are developing a master plan to create a scenic views, to create facilities for foreigners. For Pakistanis also, the Chitral total heritage base plan is being developed. Gulain area, Swat, Meena Jabba, you must have heard of Malam Jabba, but Meena Jabba is also being developed right now. Then Thandiani, we are making a master plan. Kagan Valley, Kotli Satya, because Murray has a mushroom growth.
So Kotli Satya is actually going to be new Murray.
Exactly. So that is going to be a new area to develop.
Wonderful.
And then you have Cholistan, the Rawar desert for Saudis if they want to come over here.
And we have desert rallies over
Exactly,
there.
and that is being developed as well. So you have a salt range, as he said. Makran coastal, that is 750 kilometer long. You see, you have a lot of beaches over there. It has never been tapped so far. So government is working on that area as well. So as Sindh Sufi Trail, you have a whole, you can earn billions dollar only on religious tourism. That is our strength basically. You have a Hindu trail over here. You have a Sikh. Kartarpur has just introduced.
Exactly.
Then you have
Panja
Sahib over here. Nankana Sahib is here. So that lot of things for a religious tours, for a tourism we can develop over here. And then you have a Tharparkar desert, then national park has been announced in GB.
Exactly.
So there's so many things that being developed, and this government is doing it for foreign tours. But mostly we need to concentrate on our own people, that we should bring them over here. They show them Pakistan, and you will earn a lot of foreign exchange.
Exactly. And sir, not just that, I think that there needs to be program, probably on television, for the awareness of people, that wherever you go, it's not really necessary that you start littering. You go to Sea View in Karachi, I think that the only thing you're going to see over there is, as soon as you step into the water, it's just shopping bags or something else other than that as well. I think there needs to be a massive awareness campaign on that as well, and that people should be fined, because once you're going to develop all of this infrastructure, people going in and creating a havoc or a mess, God forbid, Allah maaf kare, because this governor house in Punjab was opened up for public as well, and the next day, it was just litter everywhere as well. So I think, मैं उर्दू में भी ये बात करना चाहता हूँ कि अगर हम टूरिज्म की इंडस्ट्री को फरोग देना चाहते हैं पाकिस्तान में, तो हमें एज पाकिस्तानी थोड़ी सी तमीज़ करनी पड़ेगी कि अगर किसी जगह पे हम घूमने के लिए जाते हैं, तफरी के लिए जाते हैं, जैसे कराची में कहते हैं, या अपने आप को खुद को खुश करने के लिए जाते हैं, तो हम आपको प्लीज़, आपको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा अगर इर्द गिर्द शॉपिंग बैग पड़े होंगे, गंद पड़ा होगा, वो सब चीज़ें जो आप खाने के लिए लेके गए थे, उसके रैपर्स आपने फेंके गए होंगे. प्लीज़ मैं ये हाथ जोड़ के आप सब लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि इस काम को गाड़ी में कर लिया करें, एक शॉपिंग बैग रख लें, उसी को डस्टबिन बनाएं, उसी में चीज़ें फेंकें, पाकिस्तान को गंदा ना करें. Because for everybody who's going to come in, they're going to take a very wrong image of Pakistan as well. But now moving on to you, Salman Saab. I mean, and this is something I want you to speak about as well, because you said there's Red Sea and there's other places where people can go. But because we were not allowed by the Saudi government to go to other places other than the visa we get. So what are the most attractive tourist places or destinations in Saudi Arabia where we can go, and how do you think that you're going to attract them? Because Pakistan is beautiful, starting from Abdullah Shah Ghazi to Sindh to even over here in Islamabad, Golra, we're talking about Sikh temples, we're talking about different places, we're talking about beaches, we're talking about, northern areas, where Pakistan is home to, 7,000ers and 8,000ers as well. So how is it going to happen?
Sure. I think let me just say this, tourism and the digitization is the name of the game now.
Exactly.
We all have to work in collaboration. So I'm giving the three terms: tourism, digitization, and collaboration. All right. The Pakistanis living in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Almost we have eaten each and every house all the offices, Pakistanis, we need to convert them in ambassadors of tourism in Pakistan.
Exactly.
We need to coach them. We need to give them the tools so they can attract Saudis.
Yeah.
And culturally, we are very close to each other. Now, so look at this way. And when we go to Saudi Arabia, we have Taif to go. That is a lot of history there, and it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Then we have the Red Sea just right at Jeddah.
Yeah.
Then we have a Jeddah district that is a historic district. This is all doable in one day, by the way.
Wonderful.
Right? Evenings, you can go through the desert, and we are taking generally, especially from the Pakistanis coming to Saudi Arabia, they can take their kids to the desert quad bikes.
Yeah.
Overnight stay in desert.
Sand surfing.
Right? So, and if you have time, you can use a cruise that is sailing into, this is a recent thing happening.
I've cruised
Far, there is a Tabuk, there is new cities that they are putting up. So there is so much happening, as I'm saying. Also, we need to start doing business transactions with the Saudis. When we are going on a tourism, let's connect the business communities together, right? Now, to attract the Saudis to come here, as I said, let's use our overseas Pakistanis living, working as a tourist. As a private sector, I think this is the role that we have to play.
Yeah.
The government is doing what it's supposed to do. I think the government both sides of the governments are doing a wonderful job in terms of putting together the infrastructure, efforts, visas. I was looking at Saudis can get e-visa within 5 minutes from their any website, like the website from the Nadra for coming to Pakistan, and it's $10 only.
Exactly.
Right? So you get an e-visa. Similarly, the Saudi side, they have digitized the whole Umrah process, by the way, just to be fair. And Fanatic.com is one of those websites that has been selected to do the whole digitization. That means without visiting any office, physical office, you can receive your whole Umrah package along with your visa in your inbox.
Wow.
So Saudi side, the digitization has been done. I would request, sir, you, please move this. We are ready to give you the full technology platform. We are ready to bring the business community to mobilize all this, and let's do it in the private sector.
And sir, one last thing that you actually have to go and tell Saudis that, other than hunting talor, we have a lot of other activities to do over here in Pakistan.
Because we never told them.
Exactly.
We always told them that there is only talor that you can come in. Let's go and show them Badshahi
Exactly.
Masjid.
And now, alhamdulillah, I think it's going to happen as well because, people over here, even in the Saudi consulate, watch this show as well, and we know it for sure because there have been incidences where we have been, or they have probably said that, that this was said on this show as well, which was wonderful. But sir, very quickly, one last thing before I wrap this segment up as well, that with this, board, which is going to look into tourism and the development of the industry as well, which is wonderful. What I want you to tell us is that all of those Pakistanis or all of those people who want to visit Pakistan, that now we have introduced e-visas for how many countries and how many people can actually apply. And do you think that the process is now very simple and that we really do not have to indulge into different kind of paperwork as well? Because for all of those bloggers and vloggers I was talking about, they had to share that, it was a little bit of difficulty with the immigration as well.
Initially, to start with, 73 countries have added into e-visa facilities. Wow. Secondly, the most important thing is NOC. NOC for foreigners being eliminated now.
Okay.
So they can come and go wherever they wish to go. Previously, especially Goras, they had to get a NOC, but now it's no more. Okay. So that is also a good facility. They can enjoy and they can, by sitting in their offices or home, they apply for a visa. So 73 countries are now already added.
So, and so these 73 countries follow in different 7 continents, or are these 73 countries are from like 3 continents, 4 continents, or 5 continents?
No, it is almost 2 to 3 continents here.
Wonderful. I think it's wonderful as well, and we want to wish you best of luck in the kind of job you guys are doing. I think it's going to bring back a lot of prosperity to Pakistan, and not just that.
Inshallah.
I think that the people all over the world are going to come together because this is what we're looking forward to as well. And ladies and gentlemen, this is how you have very harmonized kind of relationships as well. When people come over here, you go to their places, it's like you going to your dada's place and your dada is visiting your place. You're actually in love. And this is what we want, because Pakistanis, ladies and gentlemen, has been ranked #1 in terms of hospitality. And it's not just us, there might be a lot of other people all over the world who are as hospitable as us as well. So inshallah, we hope and we pray that we're going to actually open our doors prepared once we move into post-COVID situation as well. But thank you very much, Haji,
Sure,
for joining us. Wonderful to have you.
Thank
I
you.
hope Centaurus does not have to say that, sir, you're focusing on the other job more
Of
rather
course.
than focusing on Centaurus. But thank you very much.
Balancing out.
Balancing out. I think that's the answer as well. But thank you very much, Salman sir, for joining us. Wonderful to have you as well. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is one thing we wanted to talk about the tourism industry, and the second part is very closer to my heart as well, which is, we really need to progress in terms of technology, because that's where the world is going, and that's where, everybody is focusing because of artificial intelligence and all of those things being introduced within this world. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that the countries which will be leading in the coming years will be the countries who will actually have an edge in terms of technology. We want to talk about that because recently Allama Iqbal Open University was actually taught to students as a case study because of the technology they have induced within the learning systems as well. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going for a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning.
Passion for polo will be the highest on the world's highest polo ground. Shandur invites visitors to experience a traditional polo tournament between the teams of Chitral and Gilgit. The tournament is held on Shandur Pass, the highest polo ground in the world, at 3,700 meters above sea level. The first time a polo tournament took place on the Shandur Pass was in 1936. It is a place unique and exotic in itself, surrounded by some of the most spectacular mountain scenery in the world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTV World, you watch it this morning alongside Shahzad Hassan Khan. Earlier, ladies and gentlemen, we were in conversation with some amazing guests who actually wanted to make sure that the tourism industry over here in Pakistan is going to progress, and not just that, that we are actually going to open up our doors to people in Saudi, and that Saudis are going to open their doors for Pakistanis as well, other than the religious tourism as well. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, as before heading out towards the break, I mentioned that technology these days is playing a very pivotal role, and the countries who will be leading in the coming years will be the countries who will be leading in their technologies as well. So to talk about that, obviously, if we need to produce such technology, we need people over here in Pakistan, and we need some reputable universities to do or put in the hard work as well, which Allama Iqbal Open University, alhamdulillah, is doing or has started to do as well. Not just Allama Iqbal Open University, but there are other universities as well who are really working on that. For example, AIOU University, where there's an avionics department now, and nautical engineers are being produced within universities, and I think that's great. So other than being a doctor or an engineer, I think we wanted people who will be focusing on artificial intelligence, information technology, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the way forward, and economies are actually benefiting from the producing or the production of the technology. And we see it that, wherever in the world there's more and more sophisticated technology, the country's economy is getting better and better. So this is the right time to talk about it, 2021. Well, I think that we should have started earlier, but now where are we and what are our universities doing in producing such talented, amazing human beings? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm lucky in the first place that we've actually been joined by a very young Vice Chancellor of the Allama Iqbal Open University, Dr. Ziaul Qayyum Sahab. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you, sir? And good
I'm
morning.
very well. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So thank you very much. First of all, sir, it's an honor to have you, and I see Pakistan progressing now when we have such young, amazing vice chancellors heading the universities who have exposure from all over the world as well. Sir, where are we in terms of technology or producing technology or people or manpower who will produce technology and artificial intelligence?
Shahzad Sahab, I'm a teacher by profession, so I always give hope to my students, and that's my primary job anyway, in addition to teaching. When it comes to technology, there is no second opinion that this is the century of technology. 21st century is the century of technology, so whosoever would be trying to avoid these interventions, technological interventions, won't exist anymore. When it comes to Pakistan, obviously there is a lot to be done, I should say at the first place, but I'm sure when I say this, I'm pretty sure that things are gradually improving, progressing. Government of Pakistan has announced the digital policy as well. Government of Pakistan is announcing the education policy as well. Government of Pakistan is actually now giving the first ever open distance education policy of Pakistan as well, which is future of education anyway. And specifically, you were talking about in the previous segment about COVID and COVID affected areas, and tourism was one of them. And needless to mention, education obviously is the worst hit domain in this COVID scenario.
But sir, now since you mentioned it very rightly as well, I think, keeping COVID and, COVID inside and, talking in that perspective, I believe that it was the technology which actually made us recover from it very quickly, because the vaccine was figured out that, okay, this is what the vaccine needs to be like, or, probably these are the things we really need to do. So technology is actually helping us to make things better. Where are we in terms of producing such amazing people who are going to work towards technology as well? Because, very sorry, early in the morning, but yes. But now, sir, when we look at people who are actually electrical engineers or people who can do some wonderful jobs with the information technology for that reason, half of them are in Silicon Valley, someone is Norway, someone is in Canada, so there's a lot of brain drain in terms of technology because the multinationals, people would want to work for them. And unfortunately, we have not been able to come across such a multinational which is from Pakistan, by Pakistan and by Pakistanis as well. So where are we in those terms?
Well, Shahzad Sahab, again, without investing, I mean, I normally take it as production kind of setup where unless you actually provide, you do an investment and you have adequate raw materials and experts who could then process that raw material to form a product. Let's take it, I mean, this whole scenario in the same perspective as well. Unfortunately, we haven't been investing much in the education sector. I mean, let's say it. Needless to mention, it's information technology. Obviously, it's a kind of domain you were talking about, artificial intelligence, data science, or nanomaterials, or I mean, high-tech.
The way forward.
Yes, these are the way forwards, obviously. And we did produce graduates, but probably most of them were not very industry competitive. I should accept it in most of the cases. But there have been examples where people, despite all constraints, have really contributed. But there is a lot to be done, as I said. I mean, I was looking at a figure, and Shahzad Sahab, you'll be surprised when I'll share this data with you. Someone sent me an article, and well, I mean, it was about India. And the startups in India, only the student startups in India, earned almost $11 billion in 2020.
Startups.
$11
billion.
$11 billion, right? Plus, 11 billion plus. Now, this actually, the extent of potential in this domain, and this is what we could really earn if we focus on to really improving our current infrastructure and actually improving upon the capacity and expertise of the graduates being produced.
Exactly, that's true, and thank you very much, sir, for saying that as well. And I wanted somebody to say that you know, the students graduating from our universities weren't really the industry competitive. You're the first person who's actually agreed to that as well. Thank you very much. We really need to be honest in order to progress as well. But other than that, there's one more area, ladies and gentlemen, and that is within universities, we do not have any research and development centers. Now, people want us to do the research, there's thesis, and everything is essential. Otherwise, you're not going to get the degree. But thesis is just hundreds of papers put together, and that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. You know, there's no outcome of those theses as well. We're not producing anything within our own universities. There are no research facilities within our universities, and not just that. Oh, even in Pakistan, I mean, if you have to go, you know, kind of do something that, okay, sir, I want to make this new chemical, it would be so hard for you to find the right place to go as well, that we have really not invested in. And I think that sir has been very right about it as well. But how, in terms of technology, we need to progress, ladies and gentlemen, we have a small report to share with you guys. Go ahead, take a look. I mean, you guys will come back. I want to talk about it, because when I was a university student, I could see that there's no research facility within our own universities. And even if we had laboratories, ladies and gentlemen, we were not allowed to go in because the computers were too expensive to use. And they were like, hey, you know what, you're going to mess up with them. And that's what kids do. You know, in order to learn, you really will mess up in the first place and then make it right eventually. So are we ready to do the research? Are we ready to put in the investment which is required for research and development facilities? We'll talk about that, but after this small report.
The COVID-19 pandemic has become a global health issue and has had a major impact on education. The World Health Organization has declared the pandemic of the novel SARS-CoV-19 infection, and it has now become a major public health challenge worldwide. The infection control and physical distancing measures are crucial to preventing the virus from further spreading and to help control the pandemic situation. The policy of compulsory physical distancing has been implemented in many countries, resulting in nationwide school and university closures. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, Ministry of Education initiated steps to continue the education process during the pandemic. These include teleschool, radio school, e-Taaleem portal, initiative of distance learning program, and online contents development. Other than that, Allama Iqbal Open University has designed digital technology classrooms to curb the COVID-19, through which thousands of students are being facilitated. Apprising the use of technology experiments in education, steps for enhancing stable internet connectivity across the country, teachers training and madrasa reforms program have also been initiated. Consequently, halfway through the academic year 2019 and 2020, learning methods were delivered through distance learning.
All right, sir. So I think everybody who's out there pretty much knows that even this incumbent government is actually focusing more on education. They're focusing more on health care as well. They're focusing more on tourism. And all of these industries, ladies and gentlemen, these days need a lot of technology and to improve the experience of the people as well. In order, you know, there've been new machines which can actually figure out whether you have any lung disease or not. The machine is automatically going to tell you that, God forbid, you have a lung disease or not. That's artificial intelligence. But other than that, coming back to my similar or the same question which we head out towards when we were heading out towards this small report, was that we are not provided by research and development facilities over here in Pakistan, unfortunately, and it's very hard to kind of come up with something new if you do not have a research facility, if you do not have a team of researchers with you. So I think that's the question which I'm going to pose to Dr. Saab as well. And what different do you think is Allama Iqbal Open University doing in those terms?
Well, Shahzad Saab, coming back to the previous question, I mean, very short comment I want to make is about the quality of graduates. Let's not take it as if I'm actually criticizing the universities.
Yeah.
I have always been saying whatever the universities could get in terms of support from the government and other agencies, it's a miracle whatever the universities are doing,
Exactly.
obviously. Spending almost 1.8% of the GDP on education. We shouldn't be expecting, honestly. It's a hard
For a
comment I'm
population
going
of
to
220
make,
million.
but I mean, that's the fact of the matter anyway. And when you were talking about, I mean, the research outputs and the research facilities, I would say this youth has got all potential. If they were interested, the responsibility of actually developing, for example, these PPEs we used during COVID, they have produced it. The universities have produced it. The industry has produced it. If you talk about ventilators, yes, this country has produced it. Right? Let's replicate these examples. Let's further strengthen the R&D facilities at the universities. And I'm pretty sure, as you were saying, PTI's government had actually an agenda, and it was their part of the manifesto. Health and education were their priorities, as you were saying, and we expect more and more focused on education. Anyway, that's the only way forward in this 21st century. Coming back to the use of technologies, you'll be happy to know Allama Iqbal Open University, since last about 2 years, have invested heavily on transforming our operations using technological interventions. We had a comprehensive digital transformation roadmap we conceived in early 2019. And alhamdulillah, my university would be the first university of Pakistan, I can very confidently say this, would have such a marvelous end-to-end automated processes at the university, which would automate all academic, administrative, and financial setup of the university. And then we have used GIS technologies to provide tutoring and tutors and teachers to the huge population of students, which is 1.3 million at Allama Iqbal Open University. So that would be the best example, and will be enabling technology-enhanced learning in a model way, I should say. And at the same time, I would like to offer this to all universities in my country, that whosoever is interested really to offer online programs, Allama Iqbal Open University would be really happy to really assist them, collaborate with them.
Well, that's wonderful, sir, and I would love to congratulate you as well. But just, I think that this goes with us being Pakistanis, and I'm sorry that I'm saying this, but necessity is the mother of invention, ladies and gentlemen. It's been said. And, before COVID, I think over here, we really didn't had any kind of platform where we would be like, okay, everybody can learn remotely. So eventually, Allah maaf kare, when COVID break out, that was the time when everybody started to focus on, okay, if we want to keep our schools and universities running, we really need to come up with learning management systems. And initially, HEC actually gave universities the learning management systems, but then the management systems were so expensive that the universities had to develop their own, which I think it was great. Necessity is the mother of invention, coming back to that. But now, sir, finally, to wrap this up, obviously, we have kind of touched upon the areas where we need to put in a lot of hard work. But since we have an example of NUST, how wonderfully they've been doing jobs. They have these incubation centers as well, and then HEC replicated that. Then, we move on to LUMS. Obviously, they're doing a wonderful job, and the students are contributing towards the development of Pakistan. So is Allama Iqbal Open University, alhamdulillah. But since we have witnessed a single national curriculum over here in Pakistan now, alhamdulillah, till grade 5th, and now it's going to be implemented till grade 8th. So why can't we actually have a single national such practice of research and development, and making sure that we're going to support the startups, the government's going to play their role, and incubation centers for all the universities all over Pakistan? Can we do that?
Well, Shahzad Sahab, obviously we can do it. Let's not go out of Pakistan. We have success stories, as you rightly mentioned. Let's study their models, and let's replicate these models to improve the academic administrative structures in the universities. Mention, for example, few from private universities and few from the public sector universities as well. But more important is, I quote the last sentence I would like to say. Someone said, we normally face financial pressures anyway, and it's been decades. It's not only in the current government. Current government had actually, this situation is more challenged due to COVID scenarios as well. But let's say we have 4 rupees or 4% of the GDP fixed for years if we want to improve the state of affairs in the education sector, and that's what is expected from the current government.
Exactly, and that's wonderful as well. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation to talk about such an amazing topic, ladies and gentlemen, where we really have a lot of potential, and alhamdulillah, we definitely focusing on that as well. The current government is focusing on that as well, and that is the way forward. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously at the news desk, Mr. Farooq Fayaz and Ms. Marine are waiting. So I think I have to wrap up. Please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of World This Morning, on your television screens. On Daily Motion in YouTube, it's World This Morning. On YouTube, you look for PTV World. Well, this morning, alhamdulillah, the most viewed show on PTV World, shukr alhamdulillah. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, this third wave of COVID is very serious, it's very lethal. A lot of people have been engulfed by it as well. Please make sure that you follow all the SOPs as well. Look after your loved ones, be there for them so that we can actually be together for the rest of our lives. Look after yourselves. Good morning. Allah Hafiz.
Passion for polo will be the highest on the world's highest polo ground.